You learn not to give a you learn not to care at all anymore what people think. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing well. Today we are going to talk about the things you learn when you turn 30. Now, I have recently celebrated my birthday and I am in my 30s. I'm embracing it, or at least trying to embrace it. But I've been thinking about this whole 30 thing and reflecting back on my 20s, and I have learned a lot. So we're going to talk all about that. If this is the first time that you're stopping by, then hi, my name is Melissa. This is my channel, Life of Nkem, and if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. Also, please do like this video and comment below, share, do all those wonderful things. Join the fam. I would love to hear from you. So the things you learn when you turn 30. Let's start this video. You learn not to give a you learn not to care at all anymore what people think. When you're in your 20s, it's all about the stumbling block of really trying to figure it all out. But by the time you reach your 30s, the thoughts and dreams that you had that probably hasn't come true yet, you just, you know what, I'm just gonna let it go. I'm just gonna stop struggling. I'm gonna stop fighting. And so when it comes to your 30s, it's just like, I just don't care. This is my life. I'm gonna make it all work and I'm gonna make it all count. And there is just that ease of not giving a 20s was all about figuring things out. And if I'm honest, I don't think I would go back to my 20s. If I had to relive that again, I don't think I would. Because it was just literally, as I reflect back on my 20s, there were some goods, you know, there were some real good achievements as well, but it was majority all about figuring out. And I think that is the case with your 20s. It's literally, you're figuring out what you think you have figured out, or the to-do list, the tick list, the bucket list that you have. It might not get ticked off. There are still things on that list that I was planning on doing, I thought I was going to do, I thought I was going to achieve, and then you just realize when it comes to your 30s and then you reflect back on it all, you realize that the 20s are literally trying to figure it out. You're trying to get into your career, you're trying to figure out yourself, or if you're aware of that, you're trying to figure out yourself. You're trying to make relationships work, you're trying to get on a property ladder. There's a lot of trying, there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of it all. And by the time you get to your 30s, either you have got it all together, or you just realize that, you know what, we're just gonna go with the flow. And your 20s was the struggle, and in your 30s is where all of that struggle, all of that situation and experiences that you had gone through, you're kind of coming on the other side of it in your 30s, and it just starts to ease out. You would hope that you would have your ish together by that time, for sure. Friendship dynamics change, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but back when you're 20s, you know, you're having fun, carefree, you're probably going on your girl trips and everything like that. Literally by the time you turn 30, the friendship dynamics change. You don't talk as often, you definitely don't meet up as often, probably once a year depending on, and even when that does happen, it's not like, oh, we're trying to scramble for words or anything like that. That's what I found with my friendship group at the moment. I remember when, I think it was before we turned 30 anyway, there was literally a scramble, a dash to go on our girls trip, literally our final girls trip, like our hurrah, where, you know, people are getting married, having children, and we just knew that, you know, if we don't do this for the last time, we're not gonna be able to do this again. We're not. And if we do this again, it will be with husband and children in tow. It'll be constantly checking your phone to make sure that the children at home are okay. All of that will change, and you won't really get to let your hair down and be free. So we literally did that our last girls trip before all of that kind of changed and took over. Then you learn to adapt, and you learn to know that, you know, you can catch up and you can just continue, just carry on from where it last left off. It doesn't matter how long it's been. And if you haven't heard in a long time, there's no beef. It's not that there's something wrong, we're just all really busy. And that comes with, you know, letting go of the 20s, where things were much more carefree. We felt that we had more time. And now when we're in our 30s, it's just like, you know, we're building that new dimension for our families and everything else. Friendship dynamics change, guys. It's not everyday phone calls, that's for sure. Priorities change. And when I say priorities, I mean in terms of your personal life and things like that. When you come into your 30s, it's definitely crunch time now. All about, you know, making sure you're definitely set up for the future if you haven't already. It's all about, you know, making sure you get on that property ladder. It's all about settling down, whether it's wanting marriage or preparing yourself for marriage. You're going into that preparation. It's not a case of, oh yeah, I'm just going to go out and have fun and do this. You know, instead of going out, I'm going to save. Even more so, you know, those late nights, staying up, you know, everything just changes. Your priorities definitely change when you're in your 30s. That is definitely what I've learned, and I suppose looking back on my 20s, that is what I was preparing for, really, in terms of that whole figuring everything out. That is what I was doing as well. My priorities were changing, things were shifting. I know that I want to start my business and things like that, so my priorities were changing, and that's okay. Upon reflection of now in my 30s and looking back of my 20s, I learned that mistakes are okay. It's okay to make mistakes. In fact, mistakes are inevitable, and majority of that period of your 20s is riddled with mistakes, and mistakes that you're learning from and that you're carrying out into your 30s and into your experiences that you're all building up. It's all carrying into your 30s. You become more mature, more wise, and more knowledgeable of not only life but what you want in life. Those mistakes that were made are making you realize what you want and what you don't want, and it's being able to filter out. And you know, it's okay to make mistakes. It is okay, and not just in your 20s, but there will be mistakes to come, and that's fine. It's inevitable. Like, whether it's the smallest mistake or the huge, humongous mistake, it's all about what you've learned from and applying that to the future, to you, because it's a constant build. You're constantly learning, and there is now that sense of ease that I have now, and it's okay to make mistakes. I wanted it to be so perfect. I wanted to have the perfect this and the perfect that. With all those efforts of trying to make things perfect, I was making mistakes, and you know, a lot of lessons were learned from that, and that's okay. There is no formula to finding the one. That is most certainly something I have learned now coming into my 30s, that there is no formula to finding the one. My gosh, like seriously, it's literally a case of just because you do this or you do that doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to end up with someone, or that's how you bag the guy that you want, or anything like that. Not at all. Similarly, looking at other people's relationships, hearing other people's relationships, testimonies, things like that, does not mean that that is the formula, that is the right formula, and if you literally adopt that you will get that too. That is not the case at all. Everyone is different, everyone's situations are different, and it's simply a case of timing, really. I spent my 20s, I spent my time trying to figure out this formula, because I just thought, okay, if I do this, if I do that, you know, if you pray 10 times a day, if you fast, if you know, go to Bible study, if you be in the choir, if you do this, if you go this way and you go that way, it's just too much, and it becomes overwhelming, dangerously so, because when those things don't work out, because there is no formula, you start to doubt yourself, you start to belittle yourself, you start to think that you are less than, or that you're not worthy of, and that is certainly not the case. So knowing now and understanding very quickly that there is no formula, I can't stress that enough, and I wish that, not that someone had necessarily told me, but that I just had stopped listening to other people's stories of how they met their person or anything like that, or the things that they did. And not only that, but thinking that that was the way that it was supposed to go, and oh, well, it worked for them, why is it not working for me? And that is because there's no formula. You don't base your opinion of yourself based on the opinion of others, and that is so fundamental. Coming into my 30s, I just know that a lot of my time was spent trying to people please, trying to not just people please, but not offend others in whatever decisions that I made, trying to make myself out to be the most best and perfect person, or being so conscious of others. And to be fair, I'm still that way inclined. I'm quite sensitive when it comes to other people, and so with that I have frustrations as well, because if it's not reciprocated, it's just a case of, it's quite frustrating. But knowing that my opinion of myself is not based on the opinion of others, because I just don't want to be misunderstood, and that was just always a thing, especially in my 20s. Again, trying to figure it all out. And so with that, when you are misunderstood by others, it hurt. It really did hurt, and that I felt that through my 20s. But now in my 30s, it just doesn't define me. I just think, if you have misunderstood me, then I'm not gonna sit here and continue to let that engulf me, and not let your opinion of me be my opinion of myself. It gets easier to say no. I just thought every opportunity counted, and so it was just not only the opportunities, but feeling bad for saying no. So then, you know, when you feel uncomfortable and it's like, yes, okay, and you walk away and think, why on earth did I say that? And I've just learned to say no, and not only to say no, but not have to give an explanation, because then you just always find that you have to excuse yourself, or you have to explain yourself and things like that. If you don't want to do it, no thank you, don't want to do that, no thanks, that's not for me, keep it moving. I always felt that I had to fill that space after saying no, no thanks. And you just feel that you have to fill that space of giving a reason why. No, it gets easier to say no and not feel you have to give anything more than that. Because I realized that people were doing that to me, like, and there was no explanation. So it became easier, much easier, to say no. What you think is the worst thing ever really is not. That breakup, that rejection, that application that wasn't successful, and in that moment I get it. I know that it feels like the worst thing ever, that you can't see a way out, or you can't see it getting any better than this. Honestly, as time goes on, when you look back on that, you just think, my God, I'm so glad that that did not actually happen. Can you imagine if I was with that? Oh. And you just realize that, you know what, this wasn't so bad after all. And if you can hold on to that, you'll know that if you were to go through, because, you know, in life we are faced with ups and downs, and so when you are reaching that down again, just know and just try and remember that, you know what, I've come through similar, I've come through worse, and I know that whatever the case may be, when it all passes over, it's actually not as bad as we thought it was. So guys, those are the things that I have learned when I turned 30. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you've learned in life in general. It doesn't have to be when you turn 30 or anything like that. I hope you liked it. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. I hope it inspired or helped someone out there. Also, please do share this video and subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed already, and I'll catch you again next time. Bye.